Welcome to Nugget 230 with Steve Groman, and in this Nugget we will be wrapping up the question about if you're talking to a non-believer, how do you convince them the Bible is true if you believe the Bible's true? And again, I do want to reiterate, if you wonder why there was that gap of time between our Nuggets, to go and look at our Facebook page and find out what's been going on. And we do ask you to sincerely pray for us and spread the word of our Nuggets and help us get the word out about God's creation. Back to the Grand Canyon, which is where we left off in Nugget 229.
You know, you look at the Grand Canyon, and people, if they haven't been there, they've seen pictures of it, no doubt.
And you should go to the Grand Canyon.
You should go.
It is the one place that everyone should
North
see.
and south.
As Teddy Roosevelt said.
Yes.
But yes, the North Rim is definitely
we actually got
a
to
second
drive
trip.
down to it. That was pretty cool.
Yes, and we drove down to it, and if I get back on my Saturday travel and history tips, I will take you on a drive to the Colorado River. But you didn't think you could do that, but you can.
Yeah, fascinating.
But
not in Mama's Jetta.
No, not in Mama's Jetta.
You want a pretty old, beat up, or rugged vehicle, that's for sure. Yeah. But it was fun.
It's a Tahoe type of thing.
Right. But anyway, the Grand Canyon is interesting because all these layers, you see these layers and you see pictures of it. They're all nice, neatly stacked. That picture is maybe 100 feet wide, maybe 100 yards wide, maybe 100 miles wide. But the fact is, it's still a two-dimensional picture. You have to realize many of these strata layers cover the entire continents that are on the continent. You have to realize that it is a massive, massive, massive amount of rock. Well, the question is, where did it go? According to evolution, they have their timeline. 340 million years ago, 480 million years ago, such and such, hundreds of millions of years ago. Man wasn't there back then, according to evolution. What was it that scraped that layer off? Not just the picture that we could see, but the entire continent. What scraped that layer off perfectly flat during just the age of the fishes, when the fish were? What about the age of the reptiles? Maybe the reptiles did it. Maybe the age of the mammals. Maybe some various mammals drove bulldozers and caterpillars. And how do you clear off a layer to lay another layer smoothly on top of that one? It cannot be done. It obviously was done under one major event.
Realize when you do see these layers depicted in your textbook that they are just level layers, and they've got them different sizes, just depending on the time frame involved, how much accumulation of dirt they claim happened, but they are always just this level.
Nice,
so what did level it off is your point.
What
leveled it off at the age of the fishes and the age of the reptiles?
And again, when we do our dirt jar experiment in churches and people watch it happen, it's like, whoa. We can simulate on a small scale not what evolution teaches, but what the evidence shows. We can show it on a small scale with experiments and evidence. John 17:17, sanctify them through that truth. Thy word is truth. And lastly, I would say, just show these kind of things. You know, the very popular biology textbook, What Science Is and Is Not. It says this book contains lots of facts and ideas about living things. Many of those facts are important, and you will be tested on them. But one thing, you shouldn't think that biology or any science is just a collection of never-changing facts. For one thing, you can be sure that some facts presented in this book will change soon, if they haven't changed already.
And that's usually when the crowd roars.
It's hilarious because it is what's actually in the textbooks. I'm not making anything up. I'm showing a slide of the textbook. It goes on, it says, what's more, science is not a collection of unchanging beliefs about the world. Scientific ideas are open to testing, discussion, revision. So some ideas presented in this book will also change. So my point is, you are going to be tested on these facts and ideas, but then the very same paragraph, not somewhere else hundreds of pages later, the same paragraph, it says these facts and ideas change if they haven't changed already. That's just sobering if you think about it.
And they will just say that they're being honest and that they'll change their mind. Our point is they're dogmatic. They force you to believe that this is a fact. They test you on it. You have to get the answer, and you cannot question it. Yet they are going to question it in the meantime and change it for the next textbook.
Absolutely.
And they even admit it right here.
They do. And again, the question is, I believe the Bible is true, but what if you're talking to someone that doesn't believe it's true, that believes it is not true? How do you convince him? And one last thing I would say, there are so many things you could say on this. Actually, a couple things. Again, the Bible talks about John 17:17, thy word is truth. People say, well, you get that information from a book, and that's a worldview. You get your worldview from a book that's written by man. Well, wait a minute. So do they. Because these science textbooks that everybody everybody has gotten their information and they've built a worldview out of. It all comes from man-made belief systems, and it's man who gets the ideas. So mine is forever settled in heaven, and theirs changes daily. Mine, it doesn't change like that. It is truth, and it says it's truth. Also, just one last thing, hundreds of prophecies by many different people, written over several areas across the regions of this earth, written over a period of years about a single person, all came true at the same time in Jesus. So to say that our book is not inspired, you got to really throw out a lot of it. So we do have evidence on our side, and I would just encourage the person, you may not convince them, but you can certainly give them evidence to think about, and just remind them that of these things, dogs produce dogs, and you can show the layers and all sorts of prophecies in the Bible have come true. We have the evidence on our side, in my view.
Well, the thing is that being a creationist, we've given some creation reasons to trust and believe the Bible, but as you've brought up here, there are many other reasons to trust and believe the Bible, because no matter what it talks about, it is accurate, as in, the Dead Sea Scrolls, or just there's so many other things, or
so
when
many
the Bible
finds.
talks about places and people that contemporary science or historians or archaeologists or paleontologists or whatever say, oh no, that didn't ever exist. And then what do you know? They find out, oh, it did.
It did exist.
No one is ever
that
going to prove the Bible wrong. All right, well, thank you. And we will pick up in Nugget 231 with question number 5. Thank you.